Hello. I thought it was about time I made a somewhat personal video, very open video, in terms of how I feel about this channel, what I am thinking about in terms of the future of the channel, and just some general talking points about the channel and about my approach to it. Um, I've felt like making this for some time now because I've been kind of following the trend of how my channel's been going, and unlike some YouTubers, I don't get really deep into the analytics of it. I mean, I know how many subscribers I have. I think it's 980 at the moment. I know of, broadly speaking, the viewing base that I have and other details, but I don't go really into the technical side of it the way some YouTubers do. Um, but anyway, I've got a broad idea. And now just seemed like a good time to make it because it's been on my mind for a while. So first things first, I want to sincerely thank everybody who has supported me. Um, I know I personally don't think I have the most interesting channel on YouTube, although I do try to raise issues that are topical, and I am very honest, and I try to speak as candidly as I can without, just being bombastic about it. Um, so I really do appreciate the support from subscribers, from people who watch this channel regularly. Maybe you don't comment. In fact, like in all likelihood, most subscribers don't comment because I tend to see the same names coming up on comments. Um, and if I have 980 subscribers, that means the majority of people don't comment, and that's fine. Because I know it's time consuming, and I appreciate comments, but they're not necessary. For those people who do regularly comment, I find there tend to be two categories basically. First, there are people who broadly appreciate the things that I am saying and feel this is a channel worth watching, and who leave supportive comments. Maybe you don't always agree with me, and that's okay. I wouldn't expect a situation where people are always agreeing with me, but clearly there are people who do support this channel, and to those people I say thank you. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you giving feedback. Now, to the second group, I have had my experience with trolls, people who clearly don't agree with anything I'm saying, and clearly only come to my channel to try and get under my skin. To those people, you're wasting your time because I don't care. Um, and this is going to get into a broader issue of my approach to comments. This is something that I think needs to be understood regarding internet etiquette and internet protocol. Someone's channel is not actually a democracy. It's not actually like a little microstate where the person making the video is the kind of president and they have to abide by a democratic system and everyone's allowed to say. That's not how it works. Somebody's channel is, in a way, their personal space for speaking about issues which they're choosing to make public. Now, because I'm making it public, the follow-up there is I have to accept that not everyone will agree with what I'm saying. So if I had a situation where I blocked all the comments all the time, I would concede that would be pure arrogance on my part, and it would be a bit cowardly on my part to do that all the time. And I don't want to do that all the time. And as a matter of record, I don't do that all the time. In fact, I've made about 2,100 videos roughly since 2012, and I can honestly, hand on heart, say that in about 95% of them, I've kept the comments open. So why do I close comments for some videos? Well, to be quite honest, I've never taken an approach of feeling an obligation to reply to every comment, even supportive comments. And I hope that doesn't sound arrogant on my part. It's just that it is time consuming. It is. And so those people who make supportive comments, I want you to know I am aware of it. I know that you're doing that and I appreciate it. I'd be lying if I said I read through each and every one of them, because I don't have the time to. That's the truth. I don't have the time to scroll through each and every comment. I do have a life outside YouTube, but I know that people are making those comments, and I really do appreciate it. So please know that. But when I get round to it, I will try and respond where I can. But I often raise contentious issues, right? So I leave the comments open because I don't want to be accused of, oh, well, this guy speaks his mind, but I won't let others have their opinion. So I leave the comments section open primarily to deflect that sort of criticism. But very occasionally, I do keep it closed if the subject I'm raising is particularly contentious. So if people complain about that, my response is, well, I'm not forcing you to watch my video. And if you really feel strongly about what I'm saying, if you have the means to, then feel free to upload a rival video, like response to centrist philosopher, whatever. You would have the right to do that. Whether I bother looking at it or not is another matter. But the point here is a YouTube channel is not a democracy. That is something that we need to recognize. And the free speech issue, this is important. I am a strong believer in free speech. I believe that everyone should have a right to their opinion. I don't believe that governments or organizations should curtail someone's opinion so long as those opinions aren't hurting others. So people might say I'm a hypocrite if I say that I believe that but block comments. Well, not necessarily. I have seen comments that are being used to attack people who are actually, in some cases in the UK, because they're seeking asylum. For example, I have seen people coming from, I'm not going to get into examples because it's going to just create, I don't want people to think I'm focusing on one situation. But suffice to say, I have seen people coming from states which have in a very authoritarian situation using my channel to attack people who are agreeing with me or who are in this country as a matter of asylum. And I'm not going to allow my channel to become a platform for that sort of attack. Now, you might say it's just words, but in some cases, this does morph into physical actions. And I'm simply not going to allow my channel to become a platform for extremists. It isn't going to happen. I will allow controversial opinions. I will allow politically incorrect opinions. I've allowed all sorts of opinions on my channel. I've allowed opinions I personally strongly disagree with. I've allowed right-wing opinions. I've allowed left-wing opinions. But I am not going to, and I'm not under an obligation to provide a platform for views I feel are fundamentally destructive. So the free speech issue applies to governments and organizations. It doesn't apply to individuals in terms of that individual's personal space. I mean, well, I don't like saying personal space. That sounds very social justice warrior. Let's say my personal domain, right? This is essentially, well, this is my living room. What you're looking at here is my living room. So when people are commenting on my channel, it's my channel. This isn't like Hyde Park. This isn't a public street or something. This is essentially my personal domain. And I'm allowing the comment section on most videos to allow people to either agree with me or to offer an alternative suggestion or point of view. And I've allowed and I've tolerated personal criticism of myself. And if you doubt that, look at my record. But some videos, I do choose to block the comments because I don't want to have to deal with a back and forth of trolls. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get me to respond to their comments, to get into a big back and forth debate. And I think it's a waste of time. I really do. Because they're not going to be convinced by anything I'm saying. I'm not going to be convinced by what their agenda is. So if you believe in the breakup of the United Kingdom, you're a hardline Scottish nationalist, don't expect me to do you any favours. It won't happen. The United Kingdom is my country. You want to break up my country. I'm under no obligation to pander to you. The same applies to anyone else who is trying to force me to accept their point of view. That's another thing. It's one thing just disagreeing with me, But I've seen comments who are actually blatantly trying to convert me to their way of thinking. It isn't going to happen. Call me stubborn, but I am someone who stands up for my convictions, and I'm not easily swayed. That doesn't mean I'm not capable of changing my mind. I do, and I have, but I stand up for my convictions. So I hope that really clarifies things. If you take issue with a particular video and I block comments, well, what I do say to those subscribers who are supportive, I apologize to them, because maybe they want to say something in agreement with me or in agreement with the situation I'm discussing, and obviously that's not convenient for them. So I do apologize to them, but I would hope that you understand that it's the only way really to silence trolls, to get them to. I mean, I suppose you could say ignoring them also works, but I really don't feel an obligation to pander to people and to sort of say, oh, well, I have to give you a platform. The whole thing about free speech is about not violating someone else's right to free speech. Therefore, it's not like I'm going to other channels and trying to silence them. It's not like I'm saying they generally can't have their point of view. I'm saying that I won't allow my domain to become a platform for their point of view. There is a difference. Respecting freedom of speech doesn't mean you have to give someone a platform for it. It's something that people need to realize. Right, with that out of the way, what about the future? Well, how do I feel about my history, my 6 years of doing this? I've had a lot of positive feedback, and like I say, I've had some negative feedback. I feel that the things I bring up are things that have to be discussed. So I'm quite pleased that I've maintained that. I do feel some of my videos are repeating older issues that I've been through before, but that's because they're still topical, and I might be looking at a new video with a new angle. So I might be talking about feminism in 2018, feminism in 2014, but I'd be approaching it with maybe a slightly different angle, something I didn't consider before. It's not that I've changed my mind on particular issues, but sometimes it is worth looking at something or approaching it from a new angle, something that I didn't consider before, something that might be worth saying. Now, the news cycle is 24 hours. There is news every day. Therefore, there is something topical every day to speak about. So that's another issue. I try to be as topical as possible. I try to raise issues that are going on in the news. It's not practical to cover every single thing, so I can't do that. But I do try to raise issues that are topical. And I won't beat around the bush. I will say exactly what is on my mind. But that really brings me to my next point. What is the future of this? To be honest, sometimes I feel that the issues I raise are important, but sometimes even I get a little bit tired of them. I get tired of talking about them, and I feel, well, I'm not going to change anything by talking about these things, so what's the point? So to be honest, I do feel a little cynical sometimes at myself and at what this is all about, my channel. On the other hand, there is a lot of rubbish online. There's a lot of trashy videos, there's ridiculous street fights, there's people doing stupid things, and that has its target audience, which is much, much bigger than mine. I just try to provide a relatively adult channel that raises topical issues that need to be spoken about. And I do also try to raise issues that don't get enough coverage, that maybe need to be spoken about more. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking. I'm not intending to convert anyone, but maybe by speaking out, it will give someone an opportunity to perhaps reflect on things. I've had a lot of positive feedback, which I'm very grateful for, and that I suppose gives me more hope. It means, okay, well, I'm not wasting my time. There are people who are looking at this channel and they're thinking, well, I agree with what this guy is saying, and I can offer, my thoughts on this. That's a good thing. The whole point of YouTube should be about, partly at least, about sharing knowledge and sharing ideas. So that's what I'm trying to do. I guess you could call it a kind of mini version of TED Talks. In the future, if I get into public life, will I maintain this channel? I don't know. I honestly don't know. In the sort of politically correct world that we are living in, it would be very, very easy for someone with a vested interest to try and character assassinate me. It's not that I've ever said anything that's illegal or that anyone can rationally say, oh, this guy is a racist or this guy is a sexist, but I have been politically incorrect. And by very virtue of criticizing feminism, criticizing social justice warriors, criticizing foreign states for that matter, I have walked on thin ice with a number of subjects that I've spoken about. Now, in a way, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I didn't hide my views on those things. But I'm also acutely aware of the power of social media. We're always hearing about public figures said this and that on social media at this time. So if I'm being brutally honest, I am a little bit wary of that. I am wary that in the future, if I'm a public figure, someone will dig up one of these videos and say, oh, look, Nathan Hazlett said this. And they would then distort it to make it out that I'm some sort of bigot. And that concerns me because people could look at the video themselves and say, well, he wasn't saying that. But the power of perception is very strong. Someone could easily say, oh, he said this. That gets reported in the tabloids. And I hope I'm not sounding paranoid here, but I am aware of the power of social media. I'm aware of it all the time. And so by contributing to that through these videos, I mean, definitely, I would say I am more responsible than many YouTubers out there, but I'm also opinionated. I am very opinionated. And I'm aware of the power of social media. So at times I do wonder what is the point of all of this. And in terms of the comment section and back and forth debate, like I say, it's time consuming and it can be mentally quite trying sometimes. Debate has its place, it does. But I don't really see the point of getting into a lengthy back and forth when I'm not going to convince a person and they're not going to convince me either. And I know other YouTubers out there have given up on that because they just don't see the point of it. I will try to respond to comments where I can. I will. And I'll try and show that I'm grateful for that. But if I don't respond to your particular comment, please don't take it personally. It's just, I suppose you could call it a kind of self-preservation thing. It is time consuming. And it is sometimes, because let's say I have one positive comment, I'll thank that person and say, oh, well, but then I'll see a negative comment underneath. I'll then be obliged to reply to it. And then it gets into a back and forth. I had one guy who actually wanted to challenge me to an organized debate. But when I gave him the opportunity to organize that, he had no answer. He had no active channel. He hadn't uploaded any videos. He didn't suggest any format in which we could do that. Actually, I wouldn't be entirely closed to the idea. I'm somewhat intrigued by the idea. If we had a situation of somehow dividing the screen, I'm not sure of how that works. I'm not sure if I have the technology to do that. I wouldn't be entirely against the idea if it was a civil debate, if it was, for example, a discussion, me on one hand, the other person on the other hand. I wouldn't entirely rule it out, but I would need to know how it works. And I would need to know that there would be some certain understandings put down beforehand, that it isn't just going to be used, for example, for their propaganda, that it was publicly available and that people could make their own minds up. And that we knew what the subject was beforehand. It's one thing to say, oh, let's have a debate, but we need to have a topic. Okay, Scottish nationalism, the expansion of Russia, Chinese nationalism, whatever it is, whatever the subject is. And I'm not entirely against that idea. My only issue at the moment is I don't know how to do it. I don't actually know how to do that. I don't know how to split the screen. I don't know how that works. So I need to think about that one. So that's it, really. Final few words. Whilst I really am grateful for the support I've received, I don't owe anybody anything. I could, if I wanted, close this channel at any point. And I hope that doesn't sound defensive, but I don't have to pander to anybody. I don't have to give a platform to my critics, but I do in most cases. So If you really think that I'm a hypocrite, you think that I'm full of shit, you really don't like me. I personally don't understand why you would waste so much time on my channel. If I find a channel that I deeply dislike, I might leave one or two comments saying so, but I'm certainly not going to subscribe to them and then troll them. What's the point of that? I mean, you're wasting your time because you're not going to get the person to see your point of view. And if your idea is to get under the skin and get them worked up, okay, you might work them up for a short time, but then they're going to get bored of it. That has been the case with me. People who have tried that, yes, maybe I responded at first, but then I gave up because it was just boring. Okay, this has been a little bit longer than I intended, but I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching.